windows next to each other. I can even actually go along and resize the next window. And I can have, let me move it around. Let me move this one down. I can have 3 windows open simultaneously. And sometimes it's useful. So for example, if I'm doing a live Zoom call and they've asked me to MC, last week I did one, we had about 35 or 40,000 delegates at the conference and I was presenting. I have one window open with my script and I had the Zoom window open next to it. So I could see what was going on in the Zoom, but I could still over here read my script without it impacting on the other window. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does take a while.
Yeah. Okay.
It does take a while to get used to working with it. And obviously resizing. You'll notice that if you move your mouse to the bottom of that window, you'll see a little arrow up and down. That's when you can drag it up and down. And of course, if you move to the side, you can move it and resize it any way you like. And if I want it to be full screen again, then all I do is I click on that square and I make it full screen.
Yeah. Which square?
When it's minimized, when it's full, you'll have the 2 little squares. And when it's not full, then you'll have only 1 square.
Oh, okay.
And if you click on that square, then it'll actually make it full screen again.
Yeah, okay.
So that's one thing you can do. Sometimes people don't realize they've got so many windows open. And if you want to check, a shortcut on your keyboard is the Alt button. If you hold the Alt button down, and then while holding down the Alt button, you push the Tab button, then this is what happens. I'm going to hold the Alt button down. I'm going to push Tab. And every time I push Tab, I can scroll between all the things that I've got open at this moment. And if I go back to the Zoom call, which is now highlighted, and let go, it'll keep me in the Zoom call. But if I want to go back to one of the CJSA tests, then it'll open up the CJSA test one. And if I click on Alt Tab, go back to the Zoom call, I can switch between the windows that are actually open by using Alt Tab. I know it's a lot to take in, but not everyone is going to use it. But if you feel that it's something that you want to test out, you're welcome to try that out and watch the video clip and test it out. Estelle, you have a question?
Yeah, I use that when because I've got like a spreadsheet where I do my expenses and then I check it with my bank statement, but they don't seem to go side by side. And when I minimize them, then they don't, I can't seem, if I resize them, all the figures are not showing. So I'm not.
Okay, so Estelle, let's pretend we are doing a bank statement. I'm going to open up a spreadsheet. Let's see if I can find one with just information in it. Let's go to maybe one without email addresses in so people won't get too upset. Let's see, copy of numbers. Okay, so I've got a spreadsheet that's open. And what I'm going to do now, that one we can keep open. All right, so here's my full spreadsheet. And let's just reduce the size of the image. The numbers look quite small. There we go. And I'm going to pretend I'm going to open up a document. I'm going to pretend that, let's just go to a new document. Let's go to File, New. Okay, so I've got a bank statement. It's full screen. Let's call it bank statement. And it's got all my figures on. Okay, number one, you do realize that, of course, you can zoom in. By the bottom right-hand corner, you can zoom into your page to make whatever is on that page a little bit easier to see. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to
right-hand
minimize.
corner.
Right-hand corner of your screen, you should see a zoom slider.
Oh, there.
Okay.
Oh, there. Okay.
And then if you look at the top right-hand corner, I'm going to click on minimize. So now I'm going to resize this Word document, which is my bank statement. And I've got my Excel spreadsheet here, which I'm going to minimize. And I'm going to just do this. So now I've got the Word document. Let's just bring it about this size over here. Here's my Word document and my Excel spreadsheet next to each other. I'll just bring them down a little bit so the other stuff behind it doesn't confuse you. Okay, so Estelle, are you happy? I've got two things side by side. The problem is that this is too small on the left. So I move the slider. And once I'm there, I can increase the size. I can still navigate the document like I normally do. And I can still click in this one and navigate the document that I normally do. So you could quite easily change the size of the zoom in each one, and you should be able to see it, no problem. And you're on mute at the moment?
Sorry?
No, I'm just saying Estelle's on mute. Yeah?
Does this work? Because I'm working live on the bank statement. It's not a document in my.
Yeah, but your bank statement is on a web page. So you can reduce the size of the web page. And how do you zoom in on a web page? That is a good question. Let's have a look at that. Let me go like this. And let's pretend I open up a web page over here.
I'm taking you off the subject. Sorry.
No. This is what I like. This is going to help you. So this is what I like about it. Okay, so here's a web page. Let's pretend we've got a bank statement on this web page over here. But this writing is too small. How do I zoom into the writing? Well, you've got two options. The one is you can use that little add-on that I showed you a couple of months ago. It was a magnifying glass that you can zoom in on your stuff, but you should be able to zoom over here. I clicked on the three little dots on the top right-hand corner. I click on them, and then it's got zoom. If I click on 110, 125, 150%, I've now zoomed in 150%. If I want to reduce it back to 100, I can. So once I've zoomed in, I can click on those two little squares in the top right-hand corner, and that will obviously minimize it. And I can then do this, zoom. Now my writing is much bigger, and I can have my spreadsheet open over here next to it, and I can see both of it. And I can remember I can still scroll up and down on this side, and I can still scroll up and down on this side, and also left and right. And I can still type in and make it bigger if I wanted to. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
So you just have to play around with that a little bit to test it out. So yes, we can make folders, and yes, we can copy things into folders. And I'll tell you why this bit is so important is because, for example, let's say I'm working on a Word document. Let's go into Word and go into this document here. And I now want to save this document. I go to File, and normally it says Save. So I click on Save. Where do I want to save it? I go to Browse. I'm going to go to CJSA Test. I'm going to go to September 2021. And I'm going to put that there, bank statement, September 2021. And I've now saved this file in that folder. So if I go along to that folder, CJSA test, remember we added September 2021 to it. If I go inside it, there is my Word document that I saved. So if I'm looking for all things related to September 2021, they are all in that folder, which makes life a little bit easier when I am searching. So some people will create a folder personal. Some people will create a folder work. Some people will create a folder finances. Some people might even create a folder called photos and then put all their photos according to months into those folders. So it makes life a lot easier to do the searching. But then you get your email program. I don't know which email program you use. I use Outlook. So here is an Outlook account. And I get to my account. It says Live Math over here. If I click on it and I right click, I can then go to new folder. And I can then call this folder. I'm going to click on it. So I go to the name of my account. I right click. That's the other mouse button. And I then left click on new folder. And I'm going to call that CJSA. And I can then add a CJSA folder there. Alternatively, and you'll know that it's worked, obviously, because if I click over here, oops, there is my CJSA folder. Some people prefer to actually have that folder in the inbox. So under my inbox, I've got a whole bunch of folders over here. So maybe what you want to do, I think it is already there. And I think it's saved in alphabetical order, but I can move this anywhere I like. I can drag it into inbox and it says, are you sure you want to move the folder inside the inbox? I can say yes or no. I'll click on no. So that I've got my actual folder here. And if I am in my inbox like this, and I see an email over here, let's take this one here. Oops, let's just take this one here. If I want to move this into my CJSA folder, I click on it and I drag it all the way down until my CJSA folder is blue. I let go and it's now moved that in there, because if I go to CJSA, I can see there's an email there. So you could quite easily add your own folders, which I do. And as emails come in, you can then decide, is that a financial email? I'm going to put all my tax and all my discovery into one thing. So you're going to see that, for example, there's another one over here. This one is about property. So maybe you've got a property folder, you drag it into properties, and that way you will always be able to manage your emails in a folder. Does that make sense, Esme?
Steve, can I just ask a question?
Of course.
In your
you can.
Outlook, if you save to the folders like I do, I use it a lot.
Yeah.
It is, you know, if my Word documents are all saved, the company that looks after our documents and everything, they do it, but the Outlook, they don't save. So where are those Outlook documents saved?
So when you say Outlook documents, are you talking about
the emails that you receive that you put into different files?
So those are just emails. So
Yeah.
when you're dragging emails into those folders, your computer
Yes.
obviously stores your emails where you normally keep them. When I say that, every program has its own folder where it stores your data. So if I had to go along to Outlook and I want to know where does it actually store all my emails, if I go along to File and I go to my account settings, and I go to account settings, and
It's
I
not
look
showing.
for, oh, of course, I'm not sharing my screen. Let's try that again. All right. Let me share my whole screen, because then you can see everything. If little windows open up, you see it all. All right. So I go along to my Outlook. I go to File. I go to account settings.
Not showing, Steve. Oh, now it is. Yeah.
Okay. I go to File. I then go to account settings. And over here, I choose account settings over there. And here it says data files. This is the folder where it stores all of my data. Bearing in mind that, of course, that folder, you've got to be careful, because I've got the program open and it's busy writing whatever I'm working with into that folder. So when you're working with your files, if you want to back up your stuff, what I would normally do is I would open up the file location. Now I've got the address of where it stores that file. I'm going to copy that. And then what do? I'm going to go into Outlook and close it. So now that it's closed, this is the file backup of all of my emails. It's 6 gigs in size, which is massive. So what I would do is then copy this file and put it into my backup drive and say 27th of September, 2021. And that means that if anything ever happens to that account and I lose all my emails, I can reinstall Outlook and I can just copy this Outlook file back here and then import all my emails back into the program again. So it's not an easy process. I will say this, but it can be done if you back up your emails. You know that at least once a month, if you back up your emails, that way, if anything happens, you're only a month behind. I say that, but here comes the caveat. It depends on how you save your emails. How you retrieve your emails from your program, because you have 2 different types of account. You have what we call a POP account, and you have what we call an SMTP account. Now, a POP account and an SMTP account, depending on how they set up your emails, if you've got a POP account, what happens is all your emails come up on the server, the internet, and you can download them onto your computer, and you can leave a copy on the server. So let's say, for example, my computer crashes or there's a virus and my entire email program is completely gone. If I reinstall the program and I've left all my emails on the server, all those emails will start flooding back into my email program, and I'll have everything up to date as long as I've left it on the server. However, my sent items will be empty, because when you're using a POP account, you don't normally, it doesn't save copies of what you've sent out, but it does save whatever comes in on the server, and it puts a copy of that onto your PC. That's a normal POP account. An SMTP account is slightly different in that if I have my email on my computer, and I have my email on my phone, and I have my email on my laptop, and some people do that. They have the email on more than one device. If you've signed in with an SMTP account, what that does is, yes, you can leave stuff on the server, just like you do with a normal POP. However, if I send a sent item, let's say I send Estelle an email and I send Ed an email, it saves a copy of that on the server. So that means that if I ever go to my cell phone and I go to my sent items, whatever I sent to Estelle and Ed will be in my sent items on my phone as well. Because what it does is it mirrors whatever you do on your PC with the email, it then updates the server so that both are the same. Now, people generally do that for work because it means that they have copies of their sent items and the incoming items. And some people do it because, you know, if I send Estelle an email from my phone and then I come to my computer, my phone has died, I can't access a sent photo or a sent email because I didn't synchronize between the account and the server. So that is why I choose to have SMTP, because it means that whatever I send out on one device will also be copied on the server and on my other device. I hope that kind of makes sense. So to answer your question, Diana, if you have an SMTP account and you literally have a problem with all your stuff, once you install Outlook again and you put all your settings in, all your emails that went out, all your emails that came in, all the folders that you created will all reappear. Because remember, it saves a copy of all of that on the server. Your only issue is how much space do you have on that server? Most email accounts, I think, are about 2 gigabytes in size. You guys are not dealing with my issues where you've got 60,000 emails sitting in an inbox. But for you, if you're sitting with a couple of hundred, every now and again, what you might want to do is just delete, you know, the emails from 2 years ago. And that will obviously reduce the size of your email box, whether it's full or not. And you'll always get warnings from an internet service provider if, for example, your emails are filling up the box. But in saying that, you might have a Gmail account. And your Gmail account, if you are using the Gmail app or the browser, works like SMTP. Whatever you send on your PC will be in the sent items. And whenever you go to your phone, it'll also be in the sent items because the Gmail account operates in the same way. And generally, that's a large account, so you don't really have to worry about running out of space for your Gmail. Does that answer your question in a very long-winded way?
Thank you.
And it does require technical expertise to set these things up, but it's worth doing if you can because it makes life so much easier. Yes, Estelle.
Could we?
I've got on all my phone, my computer, my tablet, my emails. And if I delete it on one, it doesn't delete it on the other. So I've got to go 3 times and delete it.
So this is what you would need to do. You would need someone to assist you in backing up your emails. And then what you're going to do is change your server settings to the SMTP instead of the POP. And once you've done that, then they can restore all your emails. It'll update the server with all your emails from one device, and then you should be able to have them all. But then remember, you've got to change your server settings on all of your devices to SMTP. And then that should save you all the hassle because whatever you do on the one device, it'll happen on all of the others.
And what about when you've put your emails into folders? Does that still count as your quota, or is it taken?
It does. But remember, I mean, yeah. All I could say is that you're probably not dealing with the number of emails that I'm dealing with, no. So I wouldn't stress too much. But you can always, you know, do a spring clean every now and again, and clear things out of your inboxes. And some people, they have a setting on their email program, remove emails from the server after 14 days. So every 14 days, it is removing emails. And that way, that keeps their servers young and fresh all the time. And then, Ed, you had a question.
Yeah, now we're talking about folders. If you don't, my problem was, I've been trying to, first place, I wanted to know what the difference is. In my computer, like I've got all these folders, and it says like downloads, documents. Now, what is there some difference between if you want to save something, if you save it in under download, is that the same as saving it into documents, or is there some kind of different thing that happens?
That's a good question.
That's one question. The second question is, let's just get them out of the way. I've been trying to save your classes. They've been putting them on the CGSA board.
Yeah.
The email, and I tried to save it. I've saved it into my. It says I click it, and then it says save as, and I'll save it into download. Then when I go to download and try to open it up, it doesn't work. I don't know what's wrong. What am I doing wrong?
That is a good question. I'm always amazed at what people can do and then think that they're doing it right. So to answer your first question, if I took 2 boxes and 1 box I put download and 1 box I put documents, and I throw an apple in the download box, or I throw an apple into the documents box, they're both folders, they both hold files. You can move things between folders. It just depends where you want to put your apple. So if you put an apple in the download folder, you can drag that file and stick it into the documents folder if you choose. So it's really just a label.
So they're actually the same.
They're both folders. It's just a label. So normally when I'm downloading a program or I see something on the internet and I'm downloading it, it normally opens up the download folder. And then if I want to, I can move it from the download folder into another folder. Very, very simple. And then with regards to your question, I think what they are doing is they are sending you the YouTube link. Is that correct? Or they are sending you the link. Well, let me show you how I would send it to CJSA. I don't know if this is the same way that you are getting it, but normally I would go along to let's go like this. I reduce it back to 100%. Go to Drive. There we go. I'm going to go to CJSA. Right. So let's pretend I take this file over here. And what I do is I right click, I get the link, and I share that, copy the link, and I share that with everyone. So when you get the link in the email, you get this. And now what it does is it has this video over here, but it's in Google Drive. So what I would normally do is I would click on the download button. And if you click on the download button, what that does is I'm just going to...
Where's this download button? Where is that?
Sorry, I'm just muting Diana there because we had a little bit of background sound. I'll go back again. So here I am in the Google Drive folder. I've opened up the link and it wants to play this video for me. But I want to download the video. I don't want to stream it off the internet. I want to actually physically have it on my computer. So I go to download. And now it says, do you want to download it anyway? Yes, I do. And where do you want to download it? Of course, it's going to put it where? Normally, it goes to your downloads folder over here. I'm going to save it as my Tech Savvy 2021, 20 September. Save. And now it's busy saving that file. And hopefully it will be there in about a minute or so. Let's see. It's 446 megabytes. So it's downloading 350, 380. We're up to 400. And it's there. So now I have that folder. I have that one in my downloads folder. So let's go to downloads. Here's my downloads. I'm going to go along here. And I'm looking for Tech Savvy. This one was from today. If I double click on it, it starts playing.
Right, well, good.
So I'm not sure what you were doing, but maybe the problem is that the file that you are trying to play, you don't have the program to play it. So when I get a file that is new that I haven't used before, I will right click on and go to open with, and then choose which program I'm going to open it with. If you're going to, by default, it'll be your Windows Media Player. And if I click on Windows Media Player, it is working. So that's great. Sometimes Windows Media Player doesn't play all types of formats. So that's why I think we did mention it last time that VLC is a wonderful program because it plays all different types of formats. So I'll type that in the chat if you want to experiment with VLC. It plays all video formats. It is free of charge, and it looks like an orange beacon. I'll see if I can find the actual website for VLC, and then you can download it. Here we go, videoland.org. And I will put that in the chat for you. That plays all video formats, and then you should be good to go. All right, any other questions? I'm loving these questions because you see, this might make life easier for some of you, which I think would be fantastic. One of the things I did say that a lot of you, if you've got an Android phone and you have linked it to your Google account, one of the things I always recommend is that you make sure that all of your phone numbers in your contacts are syncing with your Google account. And there's a reason for that. Because if you ever lose your phone, or your phone drops in the toilet, or you drop your phone and it smashes, how are you going to get back hundreds and hundreds of contacts? If you have saved them all on your SIM card and someone steals your phone, you've got no contacts. You cannot get them back. But if you synchronize them with your Google account, as soon as you get your new phone and you sign into Google, all your contacts and all your files and everything that you've backed up will come back onto your phone again. So one thing you can do is, if you've got time, you can go into any phone store, find a nice attendant, a young man or a young lady who knows something about tech, and ask them, are all of my contacts copied over to my Google account? And how do I make it my default that whenever I add a new contact, it automatically adds it to my Gmail account? And the reason you do this is because what happens if you lose your phone and you need to phone someone? You can actually sign in to your Google account on a web browser and access all of your contacts, which I think is incredibly important, because today that's what it's all about. It's about having all of those contacts. We spend so little time collecting them. What's your phone number? Type it in. Done. We don't have to remember it anymore. It's now saved in the book. But when we don't have that number, all of a sudden it's a problem. So I always make sure that my contacts are being automatically backed up by Google. And I know that any new contact that I add is automatically updated to Google. And any of the contacts I had on my SIM card or my phone from previous years those were all moved over to Google, and you can access them on your phone even when Google is offline. They are all there, but they've saved a copy. And every now and again, when you get to a Wi-Fi zone, it synchronizes and makes sure that your Google has got the latest version of all of those numbers. And that will certainly make life a little bit easier for you. Another little tip that I find is that sometimes you save a contact. So I'll meet Estelle and I'll go, oh, Estelle, what's your number? She'll give me her number and I'll put it in. And then I'm 3 weeks later and I'm thinking, hold on, what was her name? It started with, was a B or an L? I know there was an L in it. No, I can't think of her name. And if I go through all of my contacts, I've got hundreds and hundreds of things. So one tip that I do recommend is when you save someone's name in, and I'll do this on mine, I'll see if I can sign in quickly. And we can just make me a host. Let's go like this. If you could just make me a co-host once I sign in, this will save you a lot of heartache. I'm just joining quickly. Here I am. And then, Diana, if you could just make me a co-host on the bottom, Steve Sherman.
Just looking for it.
It should, if you just, under participants.
Done.
There we go. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And, okay. So here's my phone. My contacts are the orange icon on the bottom. I'm going to click on the orange icon, and I've got all my contacts over here. And you'll see I've got a lot of contacts. A lot of contacts. Way too many. How do you remember who's who? So when I add a contact, I go like this. Estelle. Now, where do I know Estelle from? From CJSA. And she asks questions. I've just put there Estelle CJSA questions. And let's give her a number. Let's put it as 111111111. And notice on the top, it says save to Google, not to my phone. It's saving it to Google because that's where I want my default to be saved. And then I go and save it. And now I need to make a call to Estelle, but I can't remember Estelle's name. Hold on. Where do I know her from? CJSA. So when I go to my phone book, I go to search and I type CJSA. And you know who pops up? Look at that. Estelle CJSA questions. So what I do recommend is that when you save people's names, you can always add 1 or 2 keywords. And that way, so if I go to a meeting and I meet 30 people at a meeting, networking is my thing. I love going to these conferences. And when I meet all these people, how am I supposed to remember who's who? So if I remember when I was in the States and I went to ISTE, the minute you type ISTE, all of a sudden, you'll start to see the names of the people that I met. And I've also got Eric Crouch. It says, teach your heart out. I've got Janie Rowe from Pace Academy. Jennifer Potoralski from Sunnydale Elementary. So when I meet these people and I take their contact details down, I also say where they are from. And that way, I can put a name, an organization, and the event all together in one thing. So saving names in your address book with 1 or 2 keywords is very helpful, and making sure that you save your contacts to Google if you are an Android user. Absolutely useful. If you are an iPhone user, just make sure that you are saving all of your details to iCloud account. The only one issue I have with iPhone is that they give you only like 5 gigs of space. For most people, it's not an issue. But if you take a lot of photos and you've got a lot of stuff on your phone and it keeps updating it and backing it up, eventually you run out of space. And then it's not going to keep adding all those contacts in. So that's a bit of a problem. Whereas Google gives you 15 gigs, I think that you've got a little bit more flexibility to move around with that. And I don't know if you can back up your iPhone to Google. I would assume that there is a way to do it. But I know that for Android users, and most people are Android users, you should find that syncing everything to Google will make your life so much easier. I mean, if someone took my phone today, it was gone. Tomorrow, I can have a brand new handset, and whatever was on that phone, including my apps, are reinstalled automatically because Google saves all that information. That is why you sign up to the Gmail account with your phone, and that is why you sync all of your app information, all of your WhatsApps, all of your phone records, everything is synced to Google. So if I get a brand new phone tomorrow, I'm back where I was the day before. I don't lose anything. And I think that is very important, to be in a situation where you can have continuity and not worry about or stress about the fact that now what am I going to do? My grandchild in New York, my sister in Australia, I've got to try and get all of those numbers again. You won't have to do that anymore because it's all saved. Are there any questions? Yes,
just
Ed.
on that point, I mean, if you lose your phone, I mean, there's a code that I use to open up my phone. Is that secure? Does that mean that no one else, if they get my phone, that they can open up the phone? They can't find anything.
So let me answer that question in 2 ways. Number one, when your phone is reappropriated into the hands of someone that has decided that they would like to make some money, what they normally do is format your phone to factory setting and sell it brand new. Because generally, when you have got a code on it, after they've attempted 3 or 4 times to try and break the code, it's going to lock the phone, and eventually they're not going to be able to get in. And that phone becomes useless. But it becomes useful if it is completely blank. So in 9 times out of 10, these guys are very smart. They steal your phone, they switch it off. When they switch it on, they know how to do a factory setting without putting your code in. However, what most people don't know is that if you have your phone on and you've got data on your phone, you can generally find your phone. And maybe that's what we're going to do next week. I'm going to teach you how to find your phone when it's lost. So for example, if your phone is gone and you put it on silent and it's fallen between the couch and you can't find that phone, how do you find it? What do? You could call it, but it's on silent, so you're not going to hear it. So there is a way to A, locate your phone, B, make it ring loudly, C, you can even put a message on to say, this phone belongs to Ed, here is another number, please call, or D, wipe it clean. So you can actually do that remotely as long as the phone is on the internet. So if you've got your SIM card and you've got data on your card and you can access your phone over the internet, that's why they switch it off and take the SIM card out straight away, because they don't want you to trace or track the phone. There have been criminals who are really awful. They go and steal the phone, they leave it on, you go and put track and trace on it, you go and find exactly the location, you give the address to the police using Google Maps, they can knock on the door, grab your phone and bring it straight back to you. But 9 times out of 10, these people are smart. They know to switch it off because they know you can track it. They know that you will probably try and access the phone or do whatever. That's why I always say you do have a PIN code or some sort of pattern on your phone to at least stop people from opening it up and then going onto your Facebook account and then sending special requests to Diana for money. Hi, Diana, it's Ed here. I'm having a tough month. Please, can you deposit 50,000 Rand into my account? And Diana feels bad for Ed, and she passes the money over to his account. And then Ed gets onto Facebook a week later because he finally gets his act together and says, my phone was stolen. Please do not accept any friend requests or any money requests. And Diana goes, oh no, I just put money into your account. And Ed goes, oh no, what are we going to do? And it's too late. So this is what happens when they steal a phone and it's unsecure. They will go onto your Facebook, they will go onto your Gmail, and they will use that to try and access your internet banking and stuff like that. That is why you should always have at least a basic 4-digit passcode, maybe even one that you draw with your finger, and that will at least slow them down from doing what they want to do. And if they get it wrong 5 or 6 times, it'll lock your phone for a while, but it also gives you time to try and block the phone, or you can lock it so that no one can access any data as long as you can get onto your phone. And we will test it out. I will put my phone in the room and I'll put it onto silent, and we'll see if I can get it to ring and see if I can locate it as well. So let me make a note of that for next week. We're going to find our missing phones. Here we go, missing phones. All right, are there any other things that you would like to discuss or learn how to do?
Steve?
Yes.
Hi, so now as soon as I say bye-bye to you, I'm going to go to my email, go to the Steve Sherman thing and make a folder. But
Yeah.
I'm not on documents, so I can't go to new. So what will I go to?
Okay, you talk about in your email program.
I want to start it from email, putting all Steve Sherman things together.
Okay, so which email program are you using?
Outlook.
Outlook. Okay, so then I would go like this. I would open up my Outlook like this.
I can't see it.
Now I'm just going to try and find my Outlook. Here we go. Here's my Outlook. I would go along here and I would create a folder called Steve Sherman. And then what I would do is I would type in Diana, because she often sends emails to me. So it's searching for all the Dianas. Hopefully we find something. Here we go. No, she obviously sends to my other email account. So what I'll do, I'll just do this. CJSA. Does anything pop up for CJSA? Yes, here we go. These are emails that I've sent to Diana and all of them. I can take any of these and just drag them into the Steve Sherman folder.
Okay.
So if you've created one for CJSA, let's say I've got one here for CJSA, I can now drag that into CJSA. And
I've just got to make that CJSA file.
Sorry?
I've just got to make that CJSA.
Yeah. That's very easy. As I said, you go into your inbox, you can right-click, new folder.
Oh, okay.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you'll start to find that when you've got... Yes, Ed.
Just could you go over that next week maybe? How
I will. Okay. So let me make a note of that.
Getting the link going into your email folders. I never did that. I don't know. Never tried it. I don't know what that is. So maybe I could.
Well, maybe you see, here's the problem. If a lot of people are using email, then here's what they do. Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Whenever you've got emails coming in, if you've only got one inbox, you're going to have 1,000 emails in your inbox.
Yeah.
Does it not make sense to add folders that you can actually drag them into folders? So for example, let's say you're on the body corporate and you want to save all correspondence about the body corporate. I just go along here and I drag them into there. If I wanted to put things relating to my Olympiad, I'll drag them into that folder. If I've got, for example, anything about space or any of the people that I interview, I drag them into those folders. So if I'm looking for a specific document, the first place I will go is to that particular folder, because that's where I saved things relating to that. And it's nice because you can clear out your whole thing and have this empty and have all the emails put into the right folders, and the ones that you don't need, you can delete. Very simple. So that's why you would actually use folders.
So these folders are in the I have a Gmail account.
So even in Gmail, you can, if you're using them online. So if I went like this and I go to gmail.com, here we go. You can create a folder. So if I go like this, let's go to, there's my inbox. Let's go to, I've got my categories. There's more. Let's see. I think it's, where was it now? I know that you can create folders inside your inbox. So you can actually make a whole bunch of folders, and then you can drag emails into those folders if you want to. I've just never done it on my Gmail because I never use it as it's not really a work email. Here we go. Create a new label. So if you go down to the bottom, there's all my stuff. I'm going to go to create new label, and I'm going to call it CJSA, and I want to nest it under my personal emails. Done. And now, of course, under my personal ones, I've got CJSA. And then what I can do is I can take, for example, this one here and just drag it into my CJSA, and it's done. So now if I'm looking at CJSA, there's my email that I dragged in there. So you can very easily create folders even in your Gmail. But we can spend some time on it next week, having a look at folders, because I think it's a very important thing. You use email every day. So surely you should organize those emails. You are using files on your computer every day. Surely you should organize them. What one person said to me a few years ago, back in the day when I was using a thing called a camera, remember those things? They were quite fancy. You could push buttons and they would make an image, and then they would save it on roll of film. And then I got fancy and I got a digital camera, and I would save it on a memory stick. And in those days, when the kids were growing up, I'd take lots of photographs, but I would store them in directories of months. So in 1997, I would have January, February, March, April, May, June, July. And in each one, I would have personal and work. And under personal, I would then go and drag all the photos in there. Under work, I'd put my work photos in there. So if I was ever looking for an event that I did in 1997 in July, I would go to the work folder or the personal one, and I could find all those photos very easily. Now, the irony is I never pick up my SLR. I take all the photos with my phone. They automatically get uploaded to Google Photos. And once they're on Google Photos, it puts them in month order. I can even search for keywords, and it will find photographs for me. And we can touch on that also to show you how things have changed in the photography world, that literally if you've got your phone synced to Google Photos, it'll absolutely amaze you what you can actually do. So I'll put your Google Photos as well. All right, any other questions?
I'm frightened to ask any questions now.
No, you must, because I've got you my phone book, Estelle question, SCJSA. I know.
I'm just joking.
Me too.
Hello, Steve.
Yes,
Can you hear
Avril,
me?
I can.
I just want to know, when I'm on a Zoom and I want to look up something while I'm on it, how do I get back to my computer screen without going off Zoom?
Okay, so you've got two ways of doing it. Number one, remember, are you on a Windows computer?
Yes.
So you've got windows that are all open. They're just open in front of each other. You can always minimize your Zoom. So I'm going to do that right now. So right now we're on Zoom. If I minimize it, Zoom is still open. Can you see it's open?
Yeah.
I'm moving the window. Here it is. But I can also click on other things. I'm looking at something else. The window is still open. It's just behind this one. So if I minimize it, there you can see it's there. But I'm looking at, so I can now go on to Google and look up how to visit USA on a visa. Let's see what it says. So while we're on the Zoom, I'm busy Google searching at the same time. So you can simply do that. Or the other alternative is you can use the Alt-Tab button. Remember when I said to you, you hold Alt and Tab, and all I'm doing is I'm clicking, I'm opening up the other program. And when I'm
much easier.
And look at the bottom of the screen. Can you see the bottom of the screen? You've got all these icons.
Yeah.
The Zoom one, if I click on it, will open the Zoom. And if I click on the Chrome one, it will open the Chrome one.
Yes, I see that, but I don't know how you would minimize on a Zoom screen. There is nothing that shows how to minimize. In other words, the screen is fully open. On the top, all I see is view. I don't see a minimizing
okay. So what you do is, and maybe I'm just thinking now, okay, on the top of the screen, you see view, and what do you see above that?
Nothing above that. It's fully, it's a Zoom screen. It's black, and the top says view.
So you don't see a minus and two little squares and an X?
No, I don't see that.
Interesting. I'm not sure why not, and it might be because it's there, but you just can't see it because it's out of your site there.
Yes.
But remember, if you've got it open, on the bottom of your screen, do you see a little blue Zoom icon?
No, I don't have that at all. On the bottom, it has participants, chat, etc.
I know, but I'm saying right at the bottom of your screen, on the bottom of your Windows bar.
Now, I'm talking about that. I don't have the Windows bar on that Zoom screen.
Okay, so then for some unknown reason, you're not getting your full image on your screen.
Okay.
But if you push Alt-Tab, if you hold the Alt button down and Tab, are you able to swap between programs?
Yes, now, yes.
Okay, so what you can do is you can push Alt-Tab, and then I can just use the arrows and move to the one that I want to go to, and then just open it, and I can switch between while I'm in the middle of a Zoom.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You see, this is what I like about these sessions, that even though I've planned an entire different episode, it means we get to do that next week. But the good news is that I want you to ask the questions that are going to make your life easier. And sometimes when I explain it, you're going to go, I know what he's talking about. I don't understand a word he just said. You get to watch the video again. And if you are still not convinced, then you say to me, Steve, can we go over it again next week, just in case, because I tried to create a folder and I just deleted all my emails. What do I do? So then I just say, I know speak English, and I run. But I will be glad to help you if there's any way that I can to make life a little bit easier for you when it comes to technology. And don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you ask, I'll try and help you. And if we can sort it out for you, then that will be fantastic. All right. Does that mean that we've come to the end of our session?
Yes, it does. And
it does. All right.
As usual, well, it's actually a very long session, but I think that it's been tremendously informative this week.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and I hope you've all learned a lot. And thanks to Steve for his time and patience.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so it really
Patience
was
of a saint, apparently. I have teenage daughters. That's why I need to have that patience.
Yeah. So thanks to everybody for joining us. Practice what he's shown us this week so that you, if you're really stuck, you can come back again and ask questions next week. And we look forward to next week's session, Steve. Thank you so much. Yeah. Go well. And Chag Sameach, last two of the high days sessions tomorrow and Wednesday. And then we'll be back to 5 days a week.
Yeah, then you can see.
Thank you very much. That was very interesting.
Thank you. I'm glad you
joined us, Sylvia.
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
There's exercises in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So if you want to sign up for Ageless Grace, that's coming on in 15 minutes. Okay. So much.
What's next? Sorry, what is next?
Exercises, Ageless Grace at 11.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks so much. Bye.
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 All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
I don't need to do the exercise.
Morning. Hi, everybody.
Morning.
Hands up, Monique. You want to say something?
Hello.
Oh, I thought your hand was up. No.
No.
Okay, first of all, I want to apologize for the salaries. I'm really feeling so bad about it. But normally, just to explain, normally a few days...
Diana, you on record.
Oh, okay. Stop. Sorry.